In the heart of a bustling American city, where lights never dim and people chase seconds like shooting stars, there lived a small being, one that had no breath, yet somehow lived its own quiet life. A little clock. It once hung in the home of an old watchmaker, until it was brought to rest inside a small café at the base of a towering glass building, a place where every second seemed to race against life itself. And there, the little clock would learn a truth that even the wisest forget. You cannot add a single moment to your life by worrying. The little clock was named Tick. Its copper frame was scratched, its glass face slightly fogged from years of ticking. It hung quietly on a wooden wall in a corner café beneath the great glass tower, home to the city's most famous landmark, the giant clock, which people called the heart of the city. Every day, Tick listened to the rhythm of the world. Footsteps rushing, coffee machines hissing, phones ringing, laughter, arguments, and endless conversations. Each sound pulsed against its tiny heart of gears. Tick was terrified of being slow. Every time its minute hand hesitated, it panicked. "I must not be late. If I stop, they'll throw me away," it whispered to itself. So it wound itself too tightly, turning its gears in anxious circles, trying to stay in perfect time with the digital clock beside it. But no matter how hard it tried, it was always off by a few seconds. One morning, as sunlight streamed through the window, Tick looked up at the top of the glass tower. The giant clock glimmered proudly in the sky. Tick sighed. If only I could be like that one. Important, perfect, never late. What Tick didn't know was that the great clock above had not moved for years. A sudden downpour swept across the city. The cafe closed early, leaving Tick alone in the dim light. Outside, the streets echoed with hurried footsteps, umbrellas clashing, and tires slicing through puddles. Inside, the air felt heavy and still. Tick gazed through the rain-streaked window at the distant glow of the giant clock on the tower. It shimmered faintly in the storm, unmoving yet steadfast. Tick called out softly, "Hey, up there? Aren't you ever afraid of being late?" A deep, calm voice echoed down through the rain. "I no longer move, little one, but I still stand, so others can find where they are." Tick trembled. "But if you don't move, aren't you useless?" The voice replied gently, "Not at all. Sometimes, standing still is how you remind the world that time is more than the ticking of hands. It's the moment you live in." Tick fell silent. Outside, raindrops tapped gently on the glass, beating like a soft heart. For the first time in its life, Tick stopped counting. It simply listened. When night fell, the city glowed with restless light. Tick watched people hurry by, the girl frowning at her phone, the man sighing for a missed train, the endless rhythm of footsteps running late. "So I'm not the only one who worries," Tick thought. Then, lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder roared. The cafe went dark. In the blackness, Tick's faint light flickered once, then stopped. Its gears froze. "No!" Tick gasped inside. "I have to keep running. If I stop, I'll be forgotten." But the spring had broken. It couldn't move. It could only hear the soft drip of rain on the floor, slow, patient, peaceful. And something miraculous happened. As it ceased to move, Tick felt lighter. No more racing gears, no more fear of being wrong. Only silence, gentle, weightless silence, wrapping around it like a warm blanket. It whispered to itself, "Stopping isn't the end. Maybe it's when you finally start to listen." When morning came, sunlight streamed through the cafe window, painting Tick's face with gold. A janitor entered, noticed the stopped clock, and smiled. "Poor little guy," he said softly, wiping away the dust. "You've done your job well. Now rest." He placed Tick on a high shelf near the window, where the sun would touch it each morning. Tick no longer feared being replaced. It simply watched as the world moved below, children laughing, cars honking, the hum of a city alive. And high above, the great clock still stood silent. Together they kept a new rhythm, Not of seconds, but of peace. People passing the café would glance at Tick and smile. "There's something calming about that old clock," they would say. No one knew that deep within its still gears, a new heartbeat had begun, not to measure time, but to feel it. A year later, the glass tower was restored. The great clock remained unmoving, preserved as a symbol of memory. Inside the lobby, beneath the towering glass, Tick sat in a small display case. Below it, engraved in shining brass, were the words, "You cannot add a single hour to your life by worrying." Visitors often paused to read, then looked at the little clock, its hands forever still, yet somehow full of quiet life. When sunlight hit its face, reflections danced across the ceiling like ripples of golden water, as if time itself were smiling. And sometimes, when the air grew still, a soft voice seemed to whisper through the atrium. "You don't have to run faster than the second hand. You just have to stop worrying, long enough to hear your own heartbeat." The little clock's story is a gentle reminder for every restless heart. Life isn't measured by the minutes we live, but by the peace we find in each one. God never asked us to control time, only to trust that each moment has enough grace of its own. And so, in a city that never sleeps, one small clock stands still, to remind the world that peace is the true rhythm of time.